talking about last week?
You
We
asked-
finished up about the depression. Let me ask again. Okay, sit up. Let me ask again about depression. Okay, so I have a scenario for you. Let's say that I have a brother, very close to him. We've been tight for years, and he dies. Obviously, I'm going to go through the regular period of grief. But is it possible that it can go beyond that? And if it does, will I even know that I'm in a depression? Is there such thing as a functioning depression person?
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah.
There's definitely such thing as functioning person that's dealing with depression. Like you said, you're going to go through those stages of grief. And then where it can turn into depression, where you see those patterns of you feeling just numb, or you just maybe not even want to get out of bed every day. You're feeling hopeless, despair. It could be a lot of things. You're just withdrawn, you're isolated, or you're not doing a lot of the things that you normally would do. And if that's at a continuation pattern, then you might can kind of see, okay, well, I might be dealing with depression. So it could be a myriad of things that could lead up to that
Wow.
outside of the normal stages of grief.
But if you're grieving, it's easy to just take that and say, that's all that's wrong, no problem, no one needs to get involved, there's no reason to worry. Because people will tell you that. Now, as a person who specializes in mental health, what signs do you see in people that let you know, yes, there's an issue there? What do you see?
First, I'll start with some noticeable behavior. If I know, let's say, if there's constant isolation, I look at the behaviors, isolation, or just kind of the patterns, what they exhibit, some of the things that they speak on, or some of the things that they kind of tell me. A lot of people tend to mask their symptoms in just everyday speak, and they tell you without telling you. And so I kind of observe from there. Now, depends on where I'm at. I mean, I normally kind of say it's not my place if I'm not dealing with a client or professionally working. I can assess for those symptoms based on what they tell me, and I can say, hey, you exhibit the symptoms of either bipolar disorder or depression disorder, but I can't just diagnose you right away and say, hey, you're dealing with depression or whatnot.
Right.
Just go by some of the symptoms that I've seen or heard of based on what you tell me, and some of the behaviors and things that
now, are you able to diagnose people? Are you able to sit down with them and tell them this is what your issue is, this is what you need to do? What does that look like?
No. So one of the things that I definitely specialize is assessment, diagnostic assessments, where I would sit down with the client and we would go over some of their symptoms, patterns, and they would tell me things about their history, past, their current behavior, their relationships, what it could be, family, romantic, what all the relationships that encompass, and then just kind of go from there. And some of the things that I noticed, and some of the things they tell me about their behaviors, their thoughts, some of the things that they feel, and kind of go there. And if some of them fit the description of that of depression or bipolar disorder or just a generalized anxiety, then I can kind of say, make those recommendations and say, hey, this is aligned with bipolar disorder, this is aligned with depression, or this is but I
not
can't
necessarily
diagnose
say that's what it is, right?
Now, because I don't have the clinical licensure to diagnose someone clinically or give them medication. I can, I do have, only in the District of Columbia, can practice therapy. I can make that assessment, and based on these assessments, this is what is aligned with this disorder or mental illness. Then, the person that's supervising over me can have that final say so based on my assessment, and can say, hey, I agree with her in the, labeling or this being aligned with depression or bipolar disorder. But I cannot clinically diagnose, because I don't have the clinical licensure yet.
Right.
So,
Yet. Okay. So basically, let me ask you this. I believe that our passion lines us up with our purpose. Would you say that being a mental health expert or specializing in mental health is your purpose in life?
I would say it's definitely one of them. I've found a love for assessing and helping those and kind of getting them to see, because that's the point, is
Right.
not me, getting them to see some of their patterns. And you'd be surprised, some people, once you kind of point out some of the things, they're able to say, like, wow, this is fit with that.
Yeah.
So really, it's
I don't want her to start diagnosing me. We may have a long rap sheet.
Right. So it's really about getting them to see and be aware
Right.
of their own behaviors and getting them to kind of bring that out of themselves.
I think that's probably the best strategy for bringing people into it, is letting them see and letting them basically say it themselves.
Yes, and
Yeah.
I've had that
Yeah.
numerous times. I've
Yeah.
had it numerous times.
They'll come out and say, that makes sense. I never thought about it. And I think it frees people. What are the benefits of people actually sitting down with someone who specializes in mental health just for a conversation?
Mm-hmm.
What benefit can that be on their job, in their personal life, their relationships? What benefit can that be for them?
I think first and foremost is having that self-awareness.
Right.
Allowing people to bring out their own sense of self-awareness and being aware of their own actions, behaviors, thoughts, feelings, and kind of when you bring that out, so that's first. And once you are aware, it's kind of like the key that unlocks all other doors.
Right.
Once you're aware, you're able to see and you're like, oh wow, I noticed this about myself. And you're able to kind of assess. And then once you become aware, then you can become more objective with yourself.
Right.
See yourself in a more of an objective light. Because a lot of times when we exhibit those symptoms, we tend to be hard on ourselves. But once you kind of gain that sense of awareness, you can kind of look at yourself in the light of being objective instead of either victim or we tend to beat ourselves up. You kind of see yourself like, oh wow, I noticed I do this and this behavior may be toxic, or I noticed this has happened to me that has caused this. So you're kind of able to see and, be more objective with yourself. And then you're able to kind of, once you're objective, you're able to kind of make those changes and adjustments that work best for you and utilize those skills that you may learn from the therapist or the counselor that, that's provided, that they teach you and you learn. And you can kind of use what works best for you, what doesn't. Have that social support system, engage in friends, family, and kind of get them to kind of be objective with you. And maybe there's things that they notice in your behavior that you can't catch. So it's very beneficial in different ways. And in being self-aware, being objective, and we can be honest with ourselves.
Right, we have to be honest with ourselves. One thing I realize too is that sometimes when people don't want to own up to the fact that maybe I need to speak with someone, they start to justify their bad behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And how detrimental is that to getting to the healthy mental health that we want to be? How detrimental is that? We always make excuses. Well, no one understands. I had to do it this way. I had to do this. You don't know. You don't know what I've been through. They use these justifications for their behavior. Do you see that a lot sometimes?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
People are at the point where they don't want to recognize, or I would say they aren't at a stage of awareness of wanting to recognize some of their behaviors, patterns. All it is you kind of remain on that continuous loop.
Now, for you, what is it, an episode in your life, if you don't mind me being personal, what episode in your life made you decide that you want to help other people? Because you're also a vet, and you share a lot of things about your desires for what you want to do for veterans. Why don't you tell my audience what it is that got you to this point to where you have a love and a desire and a passion to help other people in mental health?
Well, I myself I exhibit a lot of those symptoms, and I saw myself in a dark place that led me to the point where it's like, wow, I don't like this feeling, not for me, especially not for anyone else. So I sought that help, therapy and a lot of other techniques that use to kind of help myself, kind of get myself to the point where I am content with it. I recognize it and I acknowledge it. And everything that I've learned or gone through has got me to the point where it's like, wow, I've seen this and I've gone through that and I know what that's like. I would love to share this with others. And me being in the field of social work and in that field of mental health, it kind of furthered that. Like, wow, I've gone through this and I've seen this and I want to be able to help that. And I know what that's like to be here and feel that and have those thoughts and to want to share that. And to me, I don't like to see other people suffer, even though we kind of do that on our own. But
Yeah.
kind of if I can at least get them to the point where awareness is getting them to see, that means a lot to me. So
Now I'm going to ask a question that I know a lot of you are probably thinking about. Facebook, social media.
yes.
How much does that play into mental health? Because I know you're on social media a lot.
Mhm.
What do you think about it? Because I see a lot of stuff, and I become an expert, like a lot of you. But what do you see when you see the behaviors in social media?
Oh, that's a whole episode on its own. Social media, you might need a whole hour just to even discuss how social media affects our mental health. And just to summarize it, it can play a huge part in our mental health, especially today. A lot of kids, teens, adults, and I'll just give one snippet. Let's say we get on social media, we tend to compare our lives to others.
Yes.
Comparisons. We tend to feel like we're inadequate. We're not living. You see someone living there, or what we think living.
Yeah, I was going to say that
glamorous
because a
and
lot of it is not
ideal
true.
life.
Yeah.
Mhm. Living this glamorous and ideal life, and now we're thinking, oh, I should be doing this in order to, live this life, and then that can spiral us into depression. We have these negative thoughts, and we feel inadequate. We feel we're not enough, or just a lot of things, and that can put us back into that. I've seen it a lot especially with depression. So it does greatly affect our
And let me just say this right here. Let me interject this. A lot of what you see in social media, we get so bogged down because I know what's controlling our media these days is all of the reality shows. And a lot of that stuff is scripted.
Mhm.
These people don't really live those lives. They really don't just sit around and shop all day. That's not real life. And we have to be able to separate that. And I think that is probably one of the biggest issues that we're dealing with in this country is that we've got too much social media. How do you know when you've had too much? Sleeping with your phone? Is that probably a problem? Because I do. I sleep with my phone. Do I need help?
Well, I would say not all social media is bad. It
Okay.
depends on mentally how depends on your perspective.
Okay.
How you choose to use social media and where you are. If you're at a point where you are content within yourself, within your life, and I want to say disciplined enough, but at the point where you're like, you know what, I just kind of want to leave it alone for now and just do other things.
Don't let it control your life. Yes,
and
if it controls your life, that's a problem.
Then that can be a hindrance. But it's not all bad. I wouldn't necessarily say social media evil. We have the potential to decide how we want to use it.
Right.
If it takes over us and controls us, if we get to that point and it controls our lives, then a lot of people tend to think it's evil. But if you see it in a light, well, no, this is good. I can use it for this. I can connect with people I haven't seen in a while. If you're at that point where you're able to regulate and kind of moderate and control, then it could be used for a good thing. So it depends on
I like it for business. I'm not looking for a date on it. I'm looking for business. I'm looking for new contacts, old friends, connect, stuff like that. So if someone that's watching this broadcast right now and they're sitting at home and they have a feeling that, you know what, Shania has mentioned some things that maybe I need to address. How would she, just right there in her phone or where she is in her home, get in touch with someone that she could speak with? Is there a 1-800 number or something like that?
So if you are, I'll start with suicide. If you are having thoughts of suicide, please don't hesitate to call the suicide hotline. If you're a veteran, please call the Veteran Crisis Hotline if you're getting to that point. And if you are at a point where you just need to speak with someone, definitely reach out to a trusted friend or family member, someone that you trust, and maybe you need to kind of just speak with someone. If you are seeking therapy, counseling, they have tons of information and resources for online counseling. I know Talk Therapy is one of them. I know that's not Talk Therapy. I'm sorry, Talkspace. I'm hearing a lot as far as online. You can go to your local community or area for resources for counseling and therapy. So definitely reach out. If you're at
Definitely reach out. I just had a friend of mine that I've known for years that committed suicide, and he was a veteran. And I think they label it PTSD. Is that
not? Well, that tends to be the common diagnosis amongst vets, but not every veteran has PTSD.
Not every veteran.
But
well,
if that was what his diagnosis.
He killed himself because his wife was going to divorce him. And how would someone, us, his friends, how would we know if they don't talk to someone? How would you know?
And that's common because a lot of people that are dealing with either PTSD, depression, or whatnot, they're not going to always outwardly reach out. But I think what helps is being understanding and being consistent, being that friend. Because a lot of people may not know what to do. Maybe they want to help, but not sure how to navigate.
Well, that leads me to my next question. For those people that have a friend and you know they're depressed, whether it be about an ex-boyfriend or ex-husband, whatever the case may be, don't take it too lightly, because a lot of times we want to look at people that appear to be strong and immediately assume, they got this, they're fine, there's no need, and then next thing you know, they've killed themselves. How would, what can they do if they're in a situation where they have a friend that's different? Which, can they reach out to someone who specializes in mental health on that person's behalf?
You want to be careful with that. I would say be the friend first.
Okay.
Be the friend first if you can be there. Because I'll be the first to say a person that's battling depression, they, like I said, they're not going to always want to reach out to you, and because a lot of times they may feel like they're burdened. They don't want to burden. They want to bother someone or bombard them with their problems, or they feel their problems.
Right.
So it could be difficult, but maybe sometimes it's okay to maybe take that initial step. Say, hey, I just wanted to check in on you, and maybe just listening. Just listening, and a lot of times, if we just listen.
How would you know when to act? How do you know when to act?
You can ask them.
Is it okay?
Is it okay? Because maybe they just want someone to listen.
Right.
Because a lot of times we mean well. We may want to interject with our advice and suggestions.
Which I think that is horrible, because sometimes you give people the wrong advice.
That, and then maybe they're not asking for it. Maybe they just want someone there.
So that leads me to another problem. Sometimes people give advice when they haven't asked you for help. You want to just give advice. Yeah. So just be a friend first. In other words,
be a friend first. Reach out first, and don't. I do think people mean well, but just kind of just be a friend first. Be there, and at least show them that, hey, I'm here. I may not understand what you may go through, but I'm here. Just if you can. And don't, and a lot of times too, a lot of people, they feel that, well, that person's not talking to me, so well.
Go on with their life.
And they get frustrated. Yeah. And that happens too. And that's fair, maybe people, it's, like I said, it's kind of tricky. It can be kind of tricky. But having that patience and being understanding, and that those that are battling with depression or battling with a mental illness, they may not, like I said, come to you first, or maybe, but it's okay. But I think reaching out can be a huge step. And just, even if you're just listening, starting with that.
So tell us about some of the things that you've done in the community. I know you did a lot of outreach things in California when you were out there with the kids. What area do you really specialize in and you like to work with?
I've definitely kind of dib and dab in different areas of social work. When I was living in California, child welfare services. I've dabbed in the drug and alcohol rehabilitation for felons.
How was that?
Oh, that was a huge learning experience for me.
Really? What did you learn from that?
Well, a lot of individuals that go through the stages of alcohol, and a lot of individuals, especially that are reintegrating back into society, having that second chance, and them navigating their way through while battling with their addictions. And seeing that firsthand and them dealing with that dynamic was definitely an eye-opening experience for me.
Wow.
So, and you're not always going to have those great success stories, as I've definitely experienced. I've had clients that have passed away that I've seen 2 days ago that appeared to be fine and getting ready to go home, and they've relapsed. So I've seen.
What triggers that though?
It could be a myriad of things. It could be a myriad of things. I've seen where clients that may have been in and out of the program, and now they're independent. They're managers at their jobs. It's so you've seen those.
Yeah.
You've seen those. So the drug and alcohol population, I've briefly volunteered with children with learning disabilities, autism, both on the spectrum or, functioning. I've worked with parents of teenagers as well as young children, as I kind of guess navigating, giving them some, I don't want to say tips, but suggestions, and dealing with parents and being able to deal with teens that have antisocial behaviors. I've navigated my way with housing a lot of individuals, families with low income housing, which is a whole different dynamic.
Well, you should be busy because in this country, we have 500,000 people that are homeless in this country.
Yes.
And I know here in Florida, where we're doing the interview, we have at least 30,000 people that are homeless. And homeless means that it's not what you see the people on the sidewalks. It's so different than that now. Now homeless has become people who are actually working that are actually homeless.
Oh, yes.
And so I know you're going to be busy in that. And what kind of thing, I'm just curious, what kinds of things do you deal with people that have a housing issue?
Oh,
What
wow.
yeah.
Man, I got my taste of that. And again, when I was working in Washington, D.C. in the housing, specializing permanent supportive housing, families that are utilizing the Section 8 vouchers, the federal vouchers, the local vouchers, and them navigating their way through the system and how difficult that could be. Families facing housing discrimination because of having these vouchers. So there's this stereotype
Yes.
of individuals and families that have these vouchers, and seeing both sides of that and how the system kind of have them, what's the word, or keep in this kind of box. This is where you're allowed.
Yeah.
I've seen where families that don't really want to be on that, they want to get out.
Exactly.
And
It's almost
live
like
their
it's
life.
not designed
It's not
for them to get off.
I've seen where families have been definitely experienced housing discrimination, but they call it something else. Families that don't know how to navigate the system. Families that deal with slumlords, landlords that take advantage of
Right.
them. That don't know.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of somewhat of my job. I served as an advocate, as a housing case manager, and kind of all wrapped in one. I would attend landlord-tenant court with families that aren't aware of the backings of their lease, and so it's a lot of things that go into place with that. So that was definitely an eye-opener.
Okay. So how I have totally enjoyed you on the broadcast today. The Mahogany Bronze Hour is happy right now because not only is she my daughter, but she has experience. She's a vet. She served in Afghanistan and was a Marines for 4 years.
Yes.
So thank you for your service, first of all, for that. Where can we hear more from you?
So you can find me on Facebook, Shania Johnson. You can also find me. I have a podcast called I Thought I Told You. If you're familiar with the Master P song, that's kind of what I named it after. That's also on Facebook.
I Thought I Told You.
I Thought I Told
See,
You.
I'm used to Dougie Fresh. I don't know anything about this new stuff.
So, so I Thought I Told You. You can find a Facebook page for my podcast. You can also listen to me on iTunes. I Thought I Told You. I can be found on Spreaker.com, Blog Talk Radio, and Anchor.fm. You can follow me on Instagram at CJ Eyes Wide Open, all one word. And from there, you can click on my videos, which can lead you to my YouTube page called Therapeutic Adventures, which is a channel that specializes in Mother Nature and the natural therapies of Mother Nature and going out and having these adventures. So you can definitely find me on there.
Wow. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed this broadcast of the Mahogany Bronze Hour. And do you have any last words for people that are watching this broadcast that are thinking about mental health and what they can do to make theirs better?
It's never too late. It's never too late. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with you. You can always go out and seek that help if you ever feel it. So.
All right. Well, thank you. We'll see you next. Okay, let me say that again. We'll see you next time right here on the Mahogany Bronze Hour.